excited to be here. And I just wanted to share with you some of the money saving tips that I have learned during this time when I have been really trying to be on track with my budget. It still is not going so well. I feel like this is like my second month into budgeting, and there are some positives and there are negatives, but there are some things that I'm doing really good with and some things that I'm still not, that I'm kind of struggling with. I'm not by nature a person who is very good with budgets. So if you want to see my budget update, by the way, let me know that down in the comments below. I would be happy to share that with you, but let's talk about our meal planning money saving tips today. So I have got 10 tips here for you guys. If you have any money saving or meal planning tips that have saved you money, leave those down in the comments below and I would love to hear them. And I'm sure everyone else would as well. So let's go ahead and get started. So my first tip is something that I actually recently started doing. I have started keeping a pantry inventory. And so this is a list that I just keep taped right inside my pantry, and it has a running list of what is in there. That keeps me on track because then I'm not overbuying. I know what's in my pantry, what I can use, and I can use that to actually form meal plans, which keep me from, number one, like going to the store all the time, and then number two, it keeps me from just like being really overtired one night and buying just crappy food. So that is something that has been really helpful. So I call it a pantry inventory. Some people just call it like a running list in their pantry. It's all kind of the same deal to me. I would say change that list out like every few weeks or so, just so that it's updated, so you have a good idea of what you have, and then you are definitely not overspending. I have actually thought about doing the same thing for fridge things like produce, for example, seeing which produce we have. I mean, those things are a little bit easier to see, but if I have a running like tally list, I might actually eliminate some of the food waste. I have got a problem with food waste, and it's bad, and it makes me feel bad every single time I do it. The only thing that is even any sort of consolation prize is that Portland is like a composting city, so we can put food scraps in our compost bin, but I mean, it still is money coming out of my pocket, and it still is money that's being wasted. So on that end, it doesn't make me feel great. There's not even any good way to rationalize it. Food waste is a problem, and if I were to keep a running list of like my fresh items, because I do use a lot of fresh fruits and veggies, if I kept a running list of those, I think that I would know what I have. So that is a tip that I have for you guys. The next tip that I have is keep a running list of 10 to 20 meals that your family absolutely loves, and bonus points if these have 5 or less ingredients, because if you just have a running list of things that you know how to make right off the top of your head, you don't need to pull a recipe, you don't need to scroll Pinterest, it makes the whole meal planning process just a little bit easier, in my opinion. So if your family has favorites, make sure you're incorporating those into your meal plan, because it's gonna save you time and it's gonna end up saving you money. The third tip that I have is to cross-reference what is in your pantry with what is on sale at your local grocery stores. So, and I say stores because I am someone, and we'll get to this later on one of the tips, but I'm not someone who shops exclusively at one store. I know which stores in my area have the best deals on which items, and this is something that's really important to me because I try to feed my family all organic. So some stores have some items that are all organic and a decent price, and other stores have other things. So I have to kind of do a variety of planning and shopping for that reason. If you're someone who does a lot more conventional shopping and you don't necessarily focus so heavily on the organics, then I think that sticking to one store might be a little bit easier. So it'll definitely save you time, that's for sure, but it can be done. You just kind of have to make a game plan. I have one day a month that is my grocery shopping day, and then one day mid-month that is my like mid-month like stock up kind of shop. So those are my days, and I kind of like game plan it, and then I make sure that I get the number one, the best deals, and then number two, I make sure that I get the healthiest and most whole foods possible for my family. The fourth tip that I have that will save you money on your meal planning is to double your recipe. Now, when you are doubling your recipe, it does not cost you double the money. So something that I like to do is I will double a recipe. So for example, I do this often with soup. I will make a big, huge batch of soup because that's something that can be time consuming. And then I will will put half of it away in like a gallon Ziploc bag or in one of my freezer safe containers, and I will just put it in the freezer because our family is lucky enough to have an outside freezer, so we do have extra storage space. So I just put it right outside, and then it is there on nights when I get home and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what I'm gonna make for dinner tonight. What is going to happen? I have no idea. So if I have no ideas, then I will pretty typically just make something that's like really not great, or I will be tempted to go out to eat, and that can be really expensive and not very good for you. So you guys, the struggle is real. But if you double your recipe and if you have those meals ready to go already in the freezer, it can be a big blessing if you have a busy week ahead. You know, that is kind of leaning into my fifth tip. I was going to talk to you about emergency freezer meals as your money saving tip, because again, if you have a busy week or if you have a big life event, I know that it was amazing when I was pregnant with Harrison and right after I had him, when people stocked our fridge and freezer with good food that I didn't even really have to think about making. All I had to do was press a few buttons on the oven and it was done in like an hour or something. So emergency freezer meals can not only be a time saver, but they can really save you money and keep you from being tempted to go out to eat. The sixth tip that I have for you is have theme nights. And no, I'm not talking about like costume parties and like Moroccan theme, that kind of thing. Although that sounds like a blast. I am talking about like Meatless Monday, Taco Tuesday, Leftover Wednesday, those kind of things. If you have theme nights and you kind of know what is going to happen during the week, you can put variations on those themes. So for example, you can do a variety of meatless recipes that will give you a lot of, they'll give you variety and they won't be the same thing over and over. So you won't have the same meal every Monday, but you'll have the same like variation of meal. Same thing with Taco Tuesday. You could do enchiladas, you could do tacos, you could do chicken tacos, you could do shrimp tacos. There's just like a lot of variety that could go into that. So if you have theme nights, it can make, number one, your meal planning a little bit easier, but then it can also help you to kind of know what to look out for on those sales when you're shopping. The sixth tip that I have for you guys is to bulk your meals. And what I mean by that is make one meal and then see how many days you can stretch it. So for example, we do this a lot during Thanksgiving time. So my family will cook like a turkey or a ham and we'll have those for the Thanksgiving meal. And then we will actually boil down the carcasses of those and make like either broth, or we can add some rice and make like a turkey noodle soup, that kind of thing. With the ham, my mom likes to make a navy bean and ham soup. It's not my favorite, but she really likes to make that. You can do the same thing with like a pot roast. If you have leftover pot roast, you can cube it up and make a soup. You can shred it and make it tacos the next night, but just bulk those meals and see how many meals you can get out of like one staple dish. It doesn't necessarily have to be a meat, but those tend to be kind of like the central pieces of people's meals. So if you can really stretch those central pieces, then you can get a lot more meal for your money. The seventh tip that I have for you guys is know the sales cycle of the stores that you go to and shop on the last day. So why I do this is because on the last day of those sales, sometimes other things will be marked down, things that didn't sell as well as maybe the store had hoped that they would, or like a manager special, that kind of thing. So not only will I get the sale that's listed in the ad, but I might get additional discounts as well. So that is a great money saving tip. The eighth tip that I have for you guys is, it's kind of like a two-for deal. It's like A and B. So 8A is to shop at your grocery stores first thing in the morning on your shopping day. Typically the early morning and the late night workers will be marking down things that are approaching that sell by date or are approaching that expiration date. So sometimes you'll be able to get a little bit more for your money. And so kind of piggybacking on that is to buy markdown meat. Now I have not paid full price for meat since probably 2006 when I was in college. So this excludes things like lunch meat and things that need to be fresh in the fridge often. But if you're gonna buy like bulk buy meat and you have an extra place to put it, markdown meat is a great way to go. You can store it in your freezer for a couple of months even, and it still will be good even though when it was in the store, it is approaching that sell by date. So a lot of people are kind of wary about this just because meat is kind of a weird thing in general. As far as you're getting like close to the sell by and expiration date, a lot of people are worried about like contamination and that kind of thing. But again, I've been buying markdown meat and I've been buying my meat meat in bulk for a really long time, and it has not led me astray. So check those 50% off markdown meat bins and see if there's anything that you can use for a meal. The 9th tip that I have for you is to shop at your big box stores. So I get sucked into these big box stores because they have things that my regular grocery stores don't have that are not necessarily a great deal. But when you are shopping there, number one, look for sales. So like I shop at Costco and they have an additional sale ad as well as their regular like markdown prices. So check the ad before you go, and then also make sure that you're checking that price per ounce or price per pound before you buy something and compare it to what you would normally pay in the grocery store and see if that is in fact the best deal that you can possibly get. So shop at your big box stores, but be wary of getting sucked into the cool items that they have. And then the last tip that I have for you is, I kind of mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but shop at multiple stores. Sometimes your regular grocery store that's like right across the street will have some things that are a really good deal and on sale that week, and then maybe the other grocery store down the street will have a couple of other items. So it does take up more of your time and it does take extra planning, but if you can organize your shopping trips into like 1 or 2 bulk shopping trips, then you can definitely shop at more than one store. Or if you have like a family who really likes to go, or maybe you can assign this job to your husband to stop at the other stores, maybe you like tag team it, you take 2 stores, he takes 2 other ones, something like that. It is really helpful. And like I said in the beginning of this video, it's especially helpful for my family because, you know, we buy a lot of like fresh and organic foods, and some of our stores will have some things. So like for example, there's only one store where I know that I can get organic like black canned olives, and for whatever reason that's like a really hard thing to find organically. I don't know why that is. Same with artichoke hearts. There's like one place that I know that I can get it and other grocery stores just don't have it. So I kind of have to plan accordingly as far as that goes. If you are doing more conventional shopping, you might be able to get a better deal at multiple stores as well. So just check it out and see if you can plan out your shopping trips to make it work that way, and it might be like the best thing that you ever did. So those are my budget tips for grocery shopping and for just keeping your grocery bill as low as possible. Again, if you want to hear all of my budget woes from this month, I can share them, but I've been kind of a hot mess this month. I don't know. I'm having a hard time budgeting. I took some of your advice from last month, but new things are popping up. So I guess it's about creating habits, but let me know if you guys want to see that and I can record that video as long as you all are supportive and help me out through this. It is something that I am not super proud of. So I don't know, adulting is really hard. It's just really tough. So if you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up for me. If you're new to my channel, hey, my name is Caitlin. I would love it if you would hit that red subscribe button down below. You will love this little corner of the internet. I do so many different things on this channel, so chances are there will be something that you will like here. And if you are one of my current subscribers, thank you so much for being here. You guys are incredible. You rock my world and you are just so wonderful. So thank you so much for being here. I absolutely adore you guys. Make sure though that you do have those bell notifications turned on. Again, I try to get things posted at the same time every day, but sometimes that just doesn't happen. And I have heard that there are just crazy things going on with the YouTube subscription boxes. So some days my videos are in there and some days they're not. So if you hit that notification bell, it's just right down there next to the subscribe button. You will know every single time I post a video. So make sure you have your notifications turned on, and you can find me over on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And I would love to connect with you over there. I post a lot of extras about my family and just little like tidbits about my life. So if you want to get a little bit more beans and monkeys, you can find me right over there. By the way, you guys, have fun today.